Beautiful Princess Catherine, the Princess of Wales, gets set to celebrate another birthday. Let me tell you a bit of inside news. She's not keen necessarily on birthdays. And the bottom line is, I think we're all agreed on that particular thing. You get to a certain age, don't you, where I'm not saying you don't enjoy your birthday, but the fact that your age is plastered all over the world's media must be very hard for anyone. It's just there, isn't it? You can't escape it. It's not like in the other sphere of showbiz where you can shave a few years off and claim that you're still 32. What do you mean? Yeah, I am 34. Yeah. But you know what I mean? It's hard, isn't it? It's that sort of thing. So it's interesting to note when you look at someone like Catherine, and for me, I find her fascinating because she's really developed and poised herself into a beautiful, confident young woman. I remember at the very first start of her, mood into royalty, as it were, and she was very nervous giving speeches, rightly so, because she knew everything was going to be criticised. But again, it's interesting also to think, well, who gave her this inner confidence? And this may surprise you because it's not necessarily the workings of the British monarchy. Catherine herself really comes from a very well balanced, very secure and loving family, something that we now know, of course, the Prince of Wales, William, absolutely adores. So today I thought we'd take a little look at behind exactly the power of Catherine, who got her to this point, and as ever, who makes sure that she stays there. Some of the inner findings may surprise you. Carol Middleton is she became a very popular figure, having, of course, been associated with the British monarchy. But she's done this through her own self, not really through any PR machine, through basically looking for opportunity within the media. It's her own determination to make a success of her own life prior to the British monarchy that's really endeared her to the British public and a wider audience. Situations that Carol employed inside, of course, her daughter Catherine, was simply this, that no one gives you anything. It's all about hard work. Be kind to people on the way up because you will meet them on the way down, and you're going to create problems whatever you do. She was very blunt and direct, as one can imagine with her background, with all of her children, from James, Pippa and Catherine. But this is something that's put Catherine, particularly in her role as a Princess of Wales, in particularly good stead. Now, as we all know, Carol basically got her big break by becoming an air hostess. And in those days, that was seen as a particularly glamorous job, but very hard work. Hours on your feet, always maintaining a figure, always maintaining a look of glamour. When she first came into the public conscious, people were laughing at her background and basically claiming that, it wasn't necessarily a job associated with the British monarchy. However, Prince William was absolutely thrilled by this because he could see that where Catherine came from was in fact a very close-knit but hard-working family. It was this moment actually during something of a cost of living crisis that gave Catherine's mother, Carol, the idea to start the now famous Party Pieces. This was all simply because she couldn't find anything that she thought was good for children's parties, so started creating them herself as a sideline while she was still working as an air hostess. Very quickly, as we now know, the company took off, so much so that her husband, Michael, also joined the firm. But Carol was very determined to make sure that all three of her children understood the power of hard work. All of them had to fill goodie bags. All of them had hands in designing some of the latest ranges. And as Catherine pointed out to a good source, it really put her in good stead all about what's really needed to make something a success. The big factor that's really rubbed off on Catherine, the Princess of Wales, is just how important family is. And as we've seen Catherine with her three children, Prince Louis, Princess Charlotte and Prince George, yes, they may be very privileged, but you can see they come from a very well-meaning and stable background. And this is something, once again, that was instigated from Carol. It's always a strong woman leading the family, as we all know. And what's interesting here is that when George, Charlotte and Louis come to visit Carol at their home in Bucklebury, the bottom line is they're not royal children, they're simply children that she now knows exactly how to manage, and by default showed her daughter Catherine exactly what was required to make sure that they behaved in public, but more importantly, absolutely enjoyed their childhood. Situations that Carol was very keen for all three of her children to do and partake in was AMDRAM, amateur dramatics, because she could see that they were certainly shy in certain areas of her life. What a clever move by Carol to make Catherine in particular take this particular hobby up. Because as you can see, even from early footage when she appeared in certain school productions, she was very shy, very reserved. But this was a very good catalyst to make sure that she learned how to deal with people, look at people full on, and make sure that you retain interest. And more importantly, be interested in people. As we've now seen, Catherine's really flourished as a personal speaker, but you still see hints of her shyness from time to time when you're out on the royal beat. As the two ladies have got such a close bond, in fact, should I say all three ladies, Pippa, Carol and Catherine, they do swap clothes, and from time to time you may see some of those royal favourite dresses on all three of the ladies individual. I think this is very sweet, really. It's called family recycling, as Carol likes to point out. But also, doesn't it just show the normality of exactly how Carol has shaped the bigger family? We're not decrying the fact that Michael Middleton didn't do anything, and we can see that James Middleton has tried his very best to instigate his own personal businesses and is still finding his feet. My personal feeling is that he would be very good running something like an animal sanctuary or something like that. Clearly, he adores animals. This was one thing that actually made and connected James alongside our wonderful and late monarch Queen Elizabeth II. But it's not just that. Carol was able to forge a very good bond with the late Queen. In fact, they became very close. A lot of people said it was a rocky start, and indeed it possibly was. But as you could see, once she began to trust Catherine and see how good she was, not just for, of course, Prince William, as he then was, but the future of the monarchy, the Queen became more enamoured with the Middleton family. So much so, they regularly had phone calls together. And of course, Carol has always been the utmost of discretion. Something, really, a lot of people could learn from, particularly within the current monarchy. But the bottom line is this: what makes Catherine and Carol so unique, particularly in a goldfish bowl of the British monarchy? Well, as you can see, Catherine's not actually really put a foot wrong. And this is because she always takes sage advice from her mother on all large events that happen in her life. Now, as we saw on that very proud and spectacular day of her wedding day at Westminster Abbey, the person who looked the most nervous was, in fact, Catherine's father, Michael Middleton. Well, if you look at the footage again, you can see that Carol herself, well, a little bit emotional at times, was naturally very much in control and in command. And that's one thing that we really do have to thank Carol Middleton for shaping what will become a very beautiful, currently, Princess of Wales, but one day our reigning Queen. So much for watching that particular short film on our beautiful Princess of Wales as she heads towards another birthday. I know, Mom, I'm only pulling your leg. I know. Don't tease me when we see each other. But the bottom line is this: we'd all like to wish you, obviously, a wonderful, happy birthday. But what I find also wonderful to note is that if you are someone and you want to look and admire someone who's developed from, some might say, a very shy person to a confident person, these are the people that I would recommend you look towards, because if they can do it, so can you. And it's all about having your own inner poise and learning to build your own inner confidence, whatever you're doing in life. Finally, happy birthday, the Princess of Wales. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.